Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Oh, my goodness. First of all, if I have to hear one more Swedish, Finnish, Danish study referenced on this floor today when we have so many U.S. studies that contradict everything that you're saying, Mr. Speaker, I don't understand why we're looking to the medical expertise of other countries instead of the United States of America, where we all are right now in Wisconsin. The medical experts of Wisconsin have weighed in on this. A few things I just want to get off my chest. Mr. Speaker, we talk about hate and the hate that we feel members of this body are showing towards the transgender non-binary community because we are basing our opinion and our definition of hate on behaviors and behaviors that we've seen. And I guess I would ask anybody in this body, if a transgender young person came up to you and said, when you do these things and when you say these things and when you try to legislate these things, you make me feel bad about myself, you make me feel like I don't belong, you make me feel like I am unworthy, I would ask, do you think that is loving behavior towards somebody? It is not loving behavior towards the transgender and non-binary community. It is hateful behavior, and that's why we're calling it hate. So I'm sorry that you're all triggered by that word, but we're going to continue to call it like we see it. And now I'm going to get to the remarks that I actually prepared. In this body, we are all in service of the people of this state, to our constituents. Unfortunately, some of us are in service to a political agenda set by the likes of hyper-conservative groups like the Family Research Council, the American Principles Project, and the Heritage Foundation. So I'd like to dig into that today, because some of these groups are saying some things about the roles that parents should play in their child's life. And I want to throw that out there. The first quote, if I can read from a printed document, without objection, I hope.
Without objection.
Thank you. We are committed to advocating for the safety, privacy, and protection of children and the right of parents to direct the education, health care, and upbringing of their children. That's from Mr. Ferris, the president and CEO of the Alliance Defending Freedom. Second quote is, faceless government bureaucrats claim they should be more involved in children's intimate decisions than their parents. That's a quote from the president of the Family Policy Alliance, Mr. DesRochers. And the last one, I am hopeful that we will get there by uniting around the fundamental responsibility of each generation to create a world where children flourish in mind, body, and spirit. Protecting children also means protecting their parents' rights to raise them without being unjustly threatened by an intrusive government. That's from Kay James, the president of the Heritage Foundation. All these are deeply conservative organizations. All of these are behind the copycat bill seeking to ban transgender athletes in youth sports and life-saving, gender-affirming medical care for young people. I know that members of this body believe, and I share, that parents have certain organic rights when it comes to the way their children are brought up. Parents make decisions about what religion their child is, what school they attend, what their curfew is, what colleges they visit, and naturally, how their health care needs are met. The problem is we pick and choose these arguments to suit whatever political agenda is being pushed at the time, and I include Democrats in that, frankly. And in this situation, 65 members of the body are saying that the rights of transgender and non-binary children are not the same as the parents of straight cisgender children. The decision to pursue gender-affirming care, like so many other healthcare decisions, is nuanced and private. Parents and their children, in consultation with physicians, mental health providers, all outline the options for that young person and their wholly unique situation. Gender-affirming care for one child is not the same as gender-affirming care for another. It is not just one thing. Gender-affirming care is many things, and those treatment options do not need government interference in determining what is medically best for a child that does not belong to us. Not only do the likes of us not belong in making these decisions, the introduction of this legislation sends a message to these transgender youth and the community and to those who love them that their very existence should be terminated. This body would not dare tell a parent what life-saving cancer treatment a physician can offer a child, yet they have the gall to try and legislate what life-changing, life-saving gender-affirming care they can offer. So let me be clear. Gender-affirming care is often medically necessary care for the overall health and well-being of a person. And the irony of help not harm headline is particularly offensive when we examine the statistics on LGBTQ and transgender suicide attempts and suicide completions. For the benefit of some of my Fox Valley legislators, I'm going to refer to this, which is the Fox Cities Mind Your Wellness Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Recommendations Report. It recently came out, and I had the pleasure of meeting with the two people responsible for this. Beth Clay, the executive director of the Northeast Wisconsin Mental Health Connection, and Sarah Klobuchak, a PhD and the assistant professor of development of psychiatry and behavioral medicine, and the director of suicide prevention Comprehensive Injury Center at the Medical College of Wisconsin. And I'm going to refer to this document. I know how much you guys love statistics, and I've had to hear so many a year, so you're going to listen to some of mine. The overarching theme here, one of the things that they reference for social well-being for anybody is social connection. Providing more opportunities for community members to forge supportive relationships that help them protect against loneliness can improve their overall well-being. Bills that seek to marginalize transgender and non-binary youth do not do that. That's a newsflash there. They do not foster social connection and feelings of acceptance and well-being. This report actually has to call out the difference in the statistics between BIPOC and LGBTQ mental health because it is so much worse in these other communities. I'm just going to read one little quote here. However, we need to understand and address the unique needs and disparities that are true for members of the BIPOC and LGBTQ+ communities. Some of these unique experiences include lack of accountability for racial and culturally motivated acts of violence, exclusion through language that negates identities and experiences, and anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ legislative actions, all of which are dehumanizing. I don't think dehumanizing is far from saying you're hating somebody. I don't really care how mad everybody's getting at me right now either. There's statistics in here as well that point out, and you've heard many of them here today, and this is my district. This is the Fox Cities area. This is a study of people in my area, my people. LGBTQ versus non-LGBTQ. 3 times more likely to engage in self-injury if you're part of the LGBTQ community in Northeast Wisconsin. 11 times more likely to report attempting suicide 1 or more times in the past. Evidence that this is harmful exists. I'm going to draw your attention to a recent Green Bay Press-Gazette article. Headline, GOP bill ignores data on dangers of not providing gender-affirming care to trans youth. How much more clear can we get? Stephanie Budge, the associate professor in counseling and psychology at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, says, research shows there's a psychological impact of these anti-LGBTQ bills. Even before considering if it passes, there is so much harm because it is dehumanizing. There's that word again. I encourage you to check out these articles and these studies. And I'm going to end with this. Children. All children flourish when they are accepted and trusted and seen and supported and loved. And if this body spent its time investing in ensuring that all children were seen and accepted and supported and loved, we might actually get somewhere. This seems to be the most basic thing that we can do in days like this. With people like my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, we could not be further from the loving acceptance that the children of Wisconsin deserve. This is shameful legislation, and the vote is emphatically no.